Hello, this is Gene. It is Monday the 27th, 26th of 2016, and I know a lot of people know what today is one of those, I don't know if it could be history in the making. The debate is tonight, and I might talk a little bit about that, but um, I was thinking about some things today, especially the last couple of days. I've been looking now. I see the tide is starting to change how we look at things in this country. Um, those of us who've been called sexist or misogynist or racists, I think we're finally getting a foothold in calling out the people that do that to us when we're just talking about relevant topics. And one of them that is very hard to talk about because it's very hard because people get triggered or defensive so quick is the subject of rape and how the feminists have just changed what real rape is by just demonizing men. And I just want to try to explain what I mean by that. Obviously, 99.99% of people in the world who aren't rapists do not approve or condone anybody that rapes anybody, regardless of gender. But we were told many, many times when I was a kid that rape was used as a tool to dominate the other person. It's a violent act, power act. It wasn't really anything to do with, wow, she's beautiful looking and I just want to have sex with her. And I end up just doing it against her will. And obviously everybody, when we talk about this, is men doing it to women because that's how the narrative has always been, even though that we know that women do it as well in a different way, but they do it as well. And sometimes they do it to each other using objects. And many of the studies that you'll see is that in lesbian relationships, they have a higher incidence of domestic violence, which includes raping each other against their will. So this all came out, and this is what a rapist was. And we had this image in our mind that the guy, normally the guy behind a building in the alleyway, which is waiting for someone to come on, somebody that he could overpower, and because he had he had a really issue with himself, and he had to put that on someone else, so he's the one who could be in control. So it's a power type of thing. And even today, that's still what is, especially in feminist theory, but that is still the whole dynamic is having the power over the assailant or the victim. So the perpetrator almost always is going to be a man, and the female is always going to be the victim. And it's only for power. There's no other reasons for it. Now, in the last couple of years, in the last 6 months especially, you start seeing the stats now where what we always hear on campus and across their lifetime, that women are going to be victims of sexual assault or rape. 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5, 1 out of 3, depending on what studies you listen to or surveys that they have. Now, are they really good studies? Not really, but just say that's what they have. But now over a sudden, we see now that it has that for men. It's like 1 in 8, 1 in 9, that they're going to have a victim of sexual assault or rape in their lifetime as well. So what the feminists are trying to do, because they know that their narrative is starting to follow or lose, is that they're putting men into the count as well, and they still have this dynamic, or they want to believe this dynamic that rape is about power. But then they, at the same time, the other part of their outfit, I guess their legal team or whatever, that goes and tries to change the laws that basically says, really, and this is as crazy as it sounds, that a lot of them believe that it's rape any time that a woman says it, no matter what. That if it was a consensual rape or consensual sex, that later on she could say that it was not consent, and she takes away her consent, and then it becomes rape. Now, this was something people used to laugh at years and years ago. Oh no, there's no way that a woman would ever just say that no, I regret it, so now it's rape. But we know that it's kind of like part of their female nature that they do this, especially if they're out screwing around on their husband or their boyfriend, or if their father catches them doing something like that. Then they'll say that they had nothing to do with it. And this is the whole part about accountability. I talk about females and that they don't have any in this country. But what I'm trying to say is that the feminists have actually just brought men into the equation because they know that the narrative that they have right now is not really selling as much. Even though it's everywhere in campuses, even though our president and everybody on that side of the political spectrum still says it, saying that, you have the same rate of rape at Yale as you would at the Congo. When people know that when you actually look at this and they say this is just stupidity and it's not true, and people just look at it and they're like, no, they're just going to say that stuff. But then you see what they're doing on campuses and telling men that they're going to be the perpetrators for their entire life, that it's all men are bad and better than whatever. But what they've done is they're trying to evolve, I guess, and so that they can use, men will come along and say, yeah, I believe this because it happened to me, or then I'm going to be the good man because I'm going to talk about it. So obviously we're just all raping each other. So obviously it's a big problem, and I just find it very, very kind of frustrating because a lot of people that really complain about this, a lot of people that maybe didn't have a good father at home, or they have daddy issues or whatever, when they're just talking about this, that or they have to have their spaces or safe spaces and trigger warnings and all that stuff, that they're probably only here because two people who were drunk had sex and bored her or him. And to me it's kind of funny at some point. But it's just funny how they're trying to bring men into the fold because I think on its merit they know they're losing. And I think that the reason why somebody like Trump is getting a foothold, even though I don't really believe he believes what I'm talking about, I think he probably falls along to the same mantra that says, yeah, there must, on campuses, 1 out of 5 are going to get raped, and all men are bad, and he's the good man. And all the other issues I would have with Trump, other than the birther thing, is that I know he's one of those people that believes that he's the good man. And that whole thing just, it upsets me because it basically says, I'm going to tell you that I'm the good man and the rest of you are not at the same level as me. And, you're not, because I believe all that other stereotypes about men that all we're out there for is to have sex. And we don't care if you want it or not, we're just going to do it because that's how we're driven. But all this comes from one side of the political spectrum, and all these people end up have doctorate degrees. Some of them actually really scientists that really believe this, that our penis is how we dominate the world, that all men are perpetrators at all times, and that all that same theory revolves into race, gender identity. Any of the types of issues is obviously related to our own penis and how men think about women. So when it comes to race issues, we have to dominate the other races, and I guess we're doing that because we don't have big enough penis compared to other races. I don't know, but it's all there. So when you hear the words like marginalizing, even people of color, safe spaces, those are all from feminist theories, and they use this no matter what. At first they're talking about a woman wants a good place to be because other men might do something, so they have to have their own little places that they can talk about. So places like Black Lives Matter adopts that same type of thing, and they can call themselves marginalized women, people of color, and they have to have their own spaces, safe spaces, and they want us to actually segregate. They want them to have their own spaces so white people can't come in. But they'll let white women in, but they won't let white men in because we're the oppressor when it comes to race and sex and everything else. And all the time they're doing the same thing, that they're blaming men for everything, white men especially. All the problems in this world is caused by white men. Of course, not giving us any credit for anything that's good in this world. And men, I guess, because we want to be, to be happy and make women happy. A lot of men, especially of the generation after mine, my son's generation, they allow it, and the schools have just talking about it, and the men have lost all their identity, their masculinity, and then you hear words like toxic masculinity, because everything that happens in this world is somehow related to toxic masculinity. That regardless of how great that having masculine men, or what masculinity has done with the last 2,000 years of our history, we are the blame for everything what happens in this world. They don't really talk about that. All that men really ever do is trying to provide and protect their wife and their kids. And in order to do that, sometimes you have to go to another place and take their resources. It's all part of a cyclical type of thing that goes on. Of course, there are going to be men that want to rule the world, and there are women that have done that as well. There's one that's running for president right now who thinks that she is entitled to that post as the president of the United States. So it's funny how, again, before I didn't really want to talk about the debate. Personally, I think that if Trump does somewhat well, looks some presidential, I think that he's going to win. But I don't know what's going to happen. Even though he's become more temperate, he's done better. But who knows? All the signs look like Trump's going to win, just based on the enthusiasm gap that's going on. It's so huge between the other. I've just never seen anything quite like this. So I find it hard to believe that she's going to win, but who knows? And I don't really, at this point, I don't know if it actually would help. Other than the fact that when I take that onion and I tail out all the different layers, and I find out the person that's in the middle of that onion is somebody like Clinton, who is a false feminist and hates women, or actually hates men, absolutely hates them. You could tell her running mate looks like a mangina. He is obviously not a masculine type of man. Not that we necessarily have to have that, but you can see that Trump tries to display himself that he is one of those, although he's very easily led. His daughter has made him do that thing about maternity leave and all that bullshit, or is it maternity leave? Whatever it is, when you have a kid, no one talks about the man staying there and helping out, but no, the men like to go to work because that's what we do. So both of them are like false gods, or what they claim to be, because Trump is not really, he is an alpha in a lot of ways, but he's not the most masculine man in the world. And she's at least bisexual, not that means anything, but she has that part of her that's that bull dyke, lesbian, hate people shit. Like, she's been trained through life that the whole world's been against her because she's that way. So I fear for any men if she gets elected. All the laws and all the federal funding already supports women, and it's only going to get worse. And we have no voice right now. I'm not really sure that we'd have one with Trump, but he might listen. So that's helpful, I guess. But that's all I really want to talk about today. I might have I don't think I'm going to watch the debate. I mean, I can't watch either one of them, really. What is I know exactly. The thing is, both of them are very similar. For all intents and purposes, almost all programs that they support are democratic in nature, except for the areas that Donald wants to be more safe and all that type of thing. The Muslim ban and all that stuff. That's more of a right-wing type of thing. But the rest of it, he's as close of a Democrat as she is when it comes to those type of policies. The other part, where we get into in gender identity politics that the left are known for, and and it's probably going to destroy the party. It's already started doing that. We have a lot of people that have left the party. So I might have a review after that, but again, I don't think I'll watch it. I might just look at the transcripts and say what happened. They say 100 million people are going to watch this, which is interesting, at least for getting involved. But the question I know is it really about the politics that we're getting into? Is it because we think that maybe that Trump will say something, and it's more of a reality TV show now? It's not really politics at all. So if you have any questions or any comments, just let me know in the comments down below, and we can talk about it, and you can let me know what your thoughts are. Thanks for watching. You guys have a good day.